Welcome to Diary of a Dreamer, where resilience unlocks your potential. I'm Tasha Eisinger, and each week I'll bring you powerful stories and practical insights from my own experiences and inspiring guests. Whether you're facing challenges or chasing dreams, this podcast is your go-to for motivation, building confidence, and practical tips for transforming obstacles into opportunities. Be sure to check out my website, tashaeisinger.com. Let's dive into today's episode and start turning your dreams into reality. Today, we are with Emily Christensen. I'm so excited to have her here. If you're wanting to follow somebody on Instagram who always makes you hungry and wanting recipes, she's the perfect person to follow. I actually wish we were doing this interview in your home and we could be like breaking bread together or something.
Seriously, I know. I always have plenty of samples.
I am happy to always be your taste tester.
Yes.
So Emily was in corporate America, became a stay-at-home mom, and then stumbled into sourdough bread making. And she has 800,000 followers, which is incredible. And then has also published a beautiful cookbook. I got to see it in person. It is absolutely beautiful. Your content is so well done. I'm so honored to have you here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
So how did you, first of all, what were you doing in corporate America?
So I was in marketing. So I graduated with a marketing degree. And so once I finished my degree, I got a job we were in Idaho at the time. And I was working for a company called Melaleuca, and I worked on their brand management. So I worked with a hair care, skincare, and cosmetics line. And I did their social media for that line, as well as all of their seasonal products. So I got to pick out like nail polish colors and lipstick colors and eyeshadow palettes, and it was really fun. And so I learned a lot about branding. Yes. Yes. So it was so fun, like getting to work with designers and photography teams and putting together shot lists and all the things. So I felt like it really set me up for creating my own business. And because Melaleuca works on smaller teams, I felt like I got a lot of experience in a lot of different aspects. And so when I started my business, I kind of had a good foundation set up for me.
Yes. So here's what's wild. I got my start in network marketing as well.
Okay.
Melaleuca is a network marketing company, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was one of the distributors building a team and everything. And what's wild is what you're telling me is what you did from the corporate side in the network marketing world has paid off. And I'm telling you what I did as a distributor in the network marketing world has paid off and translated.
Yes.
So removing the stigma of network marketing, I think it's really important that people talk about like, hey, that's how I got my start. And it's a great way to learn and dive right in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and working with all of the distributors that were referring people to Melaleuca, like they, it really is an incredible thing that they've been able to build, and being able to do it at home. I mean, that's kind of why I started my company, is I wanted something that gave me flexibility in life. And I wanted something where I could be home for my kids. You know, my husband is in residency right now, so he has a really busy schedule. And when I started it, he was in med school at the time. And so it was just, his schedule was crazy. And so a lot of times I was almost felt a little bit like a single mom because he wasn't home a lot. And so I really wanted that flexibility, because when you are working a 9 to 5, and I give all the props to the moms that are doing 9 to 5 with their kids. It's so hard to, and it seems like someone's always sick. So, you're always staying home. And so that was one of the reasons I started my own business, is because I wanted something that gave me flexibility, that I could be home and available when my kids needed it.
Well, I also think it's important for any stay-at-home mom, at least have a hobby. Have
Yes.
something that is just for you,
Hmm.
because I hope everybody realizes eventually your kids, they grow up and they move out,
Yeah.
right? Or at least they're in school all day, unless you're a homeschooling parent. Like, there comes a point that you need to have something for you. So I love it when moms, whether it's a side hustle, a hobby, working at an actual job outside of the
Hmm.
home, whatever it is, have something that's for you that kind of gives your brain a break from baby talk and all of the motherhood type things, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that was one of the main reasons is because after I finished with working there, I was just feeling a little bit lost, and I just had my second son in December, and I decided to start my business in April. So he was 4 months old when I started Country Roads Sourdough. I just needed something aside from momming all day long. I needed something else. And so that's kind of why I started Country Road Sourdough is like, I just need something that is like just for me.
Yeah.
And so it started as just teaching sourdough classes locally. And I was so nervous when I put out my first class sign up because I'm like, this is so dumb. Nobody's going to sign up. Like all of these doubts just started flooding my
And you're
brain.
sleep deprived and your hormones are trying
Yeah.
to get back on
Yes.
track. You're just like,
So I like felt so sick when I first put it out. So I like slapped a logo together in Canva and I figured out a name. We were living in West Virginia at the time, hence Country Roads. That's very popular in West Virginia. And so I was like, it actually kind of flows Country Road Sourdough. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm gonna do it. I got my logo together and I just put a flyer together on Canva and put it out onto social media and was just like, yeah, I hope this does well. And as soon as I posted it, I just had this pit in my stomach, like, oh gosh, I should just delete this. Nobody's going to take this class. So
yeah.
the lesson is just keep it up. It all works out. I ended up selling out of the two classes that I had posted. And I was like, okay, there is something here. And that's where it all started was just teaching those classes. Thanks to my all of my friends in West Virginia that were like, just do it. You should do this. Because I was just teaching classes for fun to my friends. And they were like, you need to do this. And
I
I'm
love that.
so glad.
So you didn't start with the idea of, oh, I'm going to get almost 1 million followers on social media this month, right? You
No,
started with
no.
the classes. And I think
Yeah.
that's so important. People put so much pressure on themselves when they get started. And I
Mhm.
want to talk about that a little bit because I
Yeah.
am sure, even with your background, your content was probably not nearly as polished and beautiful as it is today.
Yeah.
And even your classes and the way that you teach and what you're teaching and why and how. I'm sure your first class, you did a great job, but not as well as you could do it today.
For sure. Yes, you have to get over that perfectionist mindset or you'll never share anything. I mean, so I started with classes locally, and yeah, I'm sure the first few classes were not my best, you know. I did practice on people ahead of time, so I had started teaching classes just to friends. So, I mean, definitely practice, try to get as prepared as possible, but just with time it gets better. And then yeah, from there I decided after a while I had people like, "Hey, I would like to take this, but I live in a different state." And so I was like, "You know what? I'm just going to do a like Skype record, or it might have been Zoom recording or something. And I'm just going to put that out onto my website and people can buy this class." And looking back now at that first class, and I'm doing it on Zoom, the quality is terrible. The table is probably like shaking a little bit. And so yeah, not my best work, but people were enjoying it. And so you just keep evolving and you keep getting better. And don't be scared to put something out into the world. You want to make sure it's as good as you can get it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And yeah, that has been huge for me. I mean, when I first started posting on social, I mean, I go back and look at some of those first posts that I was sharing and I'm like, "Oh gosh." But, everyone has to start somewhere, and the more you do it, the better you get, the more you learn. And yeah, I think the biggest part of being an entrepreneur is just being willing to learn, put yourself out there, and just continue to evolve.
It's funny. Tell people what makes me an entrepreneur is I'm willing to humiliate myself publicly for the sake of
Yes,
learning and getting better.
yes. It's so true though.
Because you're right. Like, you have to be willing to just try. And
Hmm.
usually, I don't know if this has been your case, but I think when people see that you're genuinely trying, even if you're not very good yet, they're so kind most of the time. It's once you start
Uh-huh.
having some success that people sometimes can start trying to tear you down because of jealousy. But at the beginning, people are like, hey, you're doing it. Like, great job.
Yes. Yeah, and it's so important to find people that are in your corner. Like if you just have
Mhm.
even a few friends that are like supporting you, or if it's your
Yeah.
spouse or my mom, my mom is an amazing supporter.
Same.
And was always sharing all my stuff, even at the very beginning. So you just find a few people, even at the beginning, in your corner that are going to continue to be like, yes, keep doing this, encouraging you for those moments when all that self-doubt starts coming in. I think like as soon as I shared my first class, my sister has a cookie business, and um, so she's had a business for several years. And so after I shared it, I am pretty sure I had called her and was like, I feel sick. And she's like, it'll be fine. Keep it up. And so, having those people that can talk you off the ledge and be like, you can do this, is so important.
I agree. And I also think I've never met a single person who's truly successful tear you down when you're learning or trying something new. They don't pick on you, they don't make fun of you. They're like, keep going. This
Hmm.
is this is the way it works. And even like on Shark Tank, I love
Yeah.
watching Shark Tank because they talk about those things. If you're not embarrassed by your first product, then you waited too long.
Yeah. Yes.
Just get out there and do it and learn. And so how long have you been in business?
So I started my business in April of 2022 is when I did my first set of classes. From there, it was like I did classes for a while. They were doing really well. And so I was like, you know what? I should start sharing stuff on social media. I love social media from my corporate world. And I was like, I am going to just start sharing on Instagram. And so at the beginning, it was just, you know, it was slow at the beginning. I think it took about 8 months of posting consistently, and
Okay,
that's
can I
another.
stop you for a
Yeah.
second? What does consistently mean to you? Because some people think that that means multiple times a day, every day. And I'm
Okay,
assuming that's
no.
not what you did, right?
No, but I did try and post at least, like, 5 times a week.
Okay, so
Yeah,
consistently 5 times a week for 8 months straight.
yeah,
Okay.
and, it was probably, some weeks were less than others, but
Sure.
in general, I was trying to post frequently. And so then after about 8 months, I started seeing some posts that I had a few viral posts that went out. And
Ooh,
from there, it just kind of skyrocketed to I think I'm close to hitting 600,000. I'm really close on Instagram. So it has been fairly quick once, but it took a while. And I think resilience is just like so important as an entrepreneur of just like, if you're not, I think some people quit after the first month if nothing's happening. They're like, oh, well, I must be bad about on social, or I must be, my business isn't good enough or whatever. But the people that succeed are the ones that continue to stick around and continue to work hard and push forward. And so I just think resilience is so important. And like, I mean, 8 months, that's a long time. Like a lot of people would have just given up by then and been like, well, I guess Instagram isn't for me, or I guess nobody cares about what I'm saying on social media. But over those 8 months, my social posts were getting a lot better. I
Yeah.
was learning a lot, through the video making process. And so once I started hitting those bigger numbers and starting to grow my account, then it was like even more momentum to keep going. And even to this day, I mean, I try and stay very consistent of posting at least 5 times a week on social media. And I've seen a lot of success and growth because of that.
Something that you said, I hope everybody picked up on. It was, obviously don't give up. You got to keep going, even if it's not successful after a month or 2 or 6, right? But you also kept learning. You were
Yes.
refining. And I think one of the most important things people can do is after everything you do, think what went well, where could I have been better? Who do I know that can help me? So do
Mm-hmm.
you have a team of people now helping you? Because I mean, when I see your social media, it's not just a selfie stick talking, right? It's
Yeah.
beautiful what you're creating. And I know that that doesn't just happen. It's not just a 15-minute process.
Yeah. It can be kind of intense. I do have a few people that work for me now. So my the biggest source of income comes from my blog. And so I create recipes on my blog, and then I have an ad network that I work with that displays ads on my website. So because of that income that I have there, I have been able to hire people on, which has been amazing.
It's amazing.
So yes, so I have 2 virtual assistants that work for me. One of them specializes in helping to write my blog posts. So I do all of the recipe development and testing. So once I have the recipe down, I write it out for her, and then she puts together the blog post. She edits my image. Well, she puts the images that I've edited into the blog posts, things like that. She helps me with email. And then my second girl, she helps me with social media. So I still handle everything on my Instagram. And then she takes a lot of that content. She moves it over like to Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Um, I feel like and Pinterest as well. She does Pinterest. And so she handles a lot of those social platforms because, yeah, as you keep growing, I have found one thing that I'm really trying to focus on this year is honing in on like my zone of genius. And
Yes.
that always sounds a little cringy because it's like I'm not a genius, but honing in on the things that I am really good at,
Yeah.
and whatever I'm not really good at, hiring that out. Because when you have your own business, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. You are just so swamped and busy all the time. Like I always joke to people, like I left my 9 to 5 so I could work 24/7. And
It's
that's kind of
so true.
so it's like I am working way more than I ever did in a corporate job, but it's because like your brain never shuts off. Like you're always thinking about it. And
And I want to say that it's like a place of inspiration and excitement
yes,
and building and creating and
yes,
seeing the potential for the future.
yes,
I think that's an important distinction too for
yes,
people to understand. That's why entrepreneurs, we can't turn it off because it's
yes.
like, it's so fun. It's like a puzzle that you're always trying to solve,
Yeah,
but you
you just
never solve
love
it.
it. You love it so much. Like I'm having the time of my life building my business. It's been incredible. Like I know it's so cliche, like if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life type of thing. It's like, of course, there's some days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to do X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z parts of my business. But as a whole, it's just been so much fun. But yeah, going back to hiring people out, like hiring people to do, of course, like it takes time to grow your business. So at the beginning, I was just doing it by myself until I could afford to start bringing in additional people. And that's just kind of how that works. But once you can afford to like bring on a person and really like focus on what it is that you specialize in and what brings you joy and letting the other things go, I think has been so helpful for me because for so long I felt like I was drowning a little bit because I was so busy. I mean, having little boys at home, it's super busy. My husband has a very intense schedule right now. And so being able to offload some of those things so I can actually like be creative again because for a little bit I felt so bogged down in the mundane tasks and just like keeping the business afloat as far as like all the tasks I had to do. It felt like there was no room left in my brain for inspiration, for creating. And so by getting rid of some of those things in my brain and letting somebody else take care of that, I can kind of focus in again on like the things that I think drew people to me at the beginning from the first place, and being able to create and feel inspired, because when you're constantly overwhelmed or stressed, like there is no room for creativity and inspiration there. And so all of my content, especially when I was launching my cookbook, I was so busy with that. A cookbook is like
It's a
it,
lot of work.
it was so much work. Like I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and then 10 times that.
I was
It
gonna
was
say it was
just
more than you knew it would be.
yes. And it was super busy. And by the
Yeah.
end of that, I was like so drained. I didn't have any nothing was inspiring me. I felt like my content was boring. The recipes I was creating were boring. Like I just was in a kind of
You're
a
exhausted.
slump. Yes,
Yes.
just so
And
exhausted.
I like that you said you weren't burnt out, because it's kind of like when somebody runs a marathon. Most people the next day don't run another marathon, right? They have a
Yeah.
rest and recovery time period. It doesn't mean that
Mhm.
they're burnt out from a marathon, but they need a recovery period. And I feel like what's hard about being a small business owner is you can't completely have a recovery period,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what your body and brain was forcing you to do, is like, hey, I need to recharge here, rest
Yes.
a little bit,
Yes.
and then ramp it up. So about how long do you think it took you to recover from that cookbook?
Oh man. Um, Probably like 2 months. I mean, during that time
That
I
doesn't
was
surprise me.
working, but
Yeah.
I was like keeping things afloat. But as far as like creating new recipes, I was exhausted. And so I took like I was working way less. I scaled back for a little bit.
Good.
And and then I wanted to be back in my kitchen. I was re-inspired again. So I feel like taking rest, taking time away is also so important. I know as like small business owners, we can't always fully step away, but if we can even scale back for just a little bit of time, it can make such a huge difference
Yeah.
because you're creating better things. You're creating and what you're doing is more fulfilling when you're not running on a empty cup.
Absolutely. Yeah, we charge our phones all the time and don't think anything of it. We're not like,
Yeah.
oh, it's burnout. Oh, it's done.
Yes.
Right? We just charge it,
Yeah.
give it its moment, and then we're fine.
And like
So,
finding something that outside of work, like for me, when I was doing my cookbook, I was so busy that I didn't have a lot of time to go to the gym. And like the
mm,
gym has always been somewhere where I can kind of like reset, clear my mind for a little bit, and help my body to like feel at its best. And so taking the time and being like, no, I am putting this in my schedule. Like I am going to make time to do this. And because I was doing that again, it like helped me
yes.
fill my cup again. And so I think even if you can just find like one or two things, maybe it's like you love to read. And so you take 10 minutes before bed and you turn off your phone and you just read or whatever it is for you that like brings you joy.
Not
Make
scrolling on social media, right?
Yes.
Like we
No,
need
that does
something
not count.
that does not count. Well, and one of the things I love to do is I just do, like, even if it's just a 10-minute walk in
Yes.
my yard. My
Mhm.
neighbors probably think I'm nuts because I like talk to myself as I'm walking because I'm processing. I'm having a meeting,
Yes.
with me.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of value in just taking that 10 minutes or even 5 minutes. If you're like, that's all I have, just
Mhm.
something where you can say, this is for me is really important.
Yes.
And especially as moms, we don't really get me time because we are always on.
Yeah.
There is a very big difference between building a small business as a mom versus a dad. It just is. And I think you saying the 10 minutes or, even if it's before bedtime and you're tired, just doing that is so, so important.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, you've got this blog, you've got all this social media, you've done your first cookbook. Do you think you'll
Yes.
do another cookbook?
Oh man, I told my husband, I said, don't ever let me do this again. And I'm already, like how when you have a
Uh-huh.
baby, you forget like what labor is like, you know what I mean? And so then that's why you end up having another child because you kind of forget how terrible that is.
Well, I was very fortunate. My first was like so beautiful and peaceful,
Oh,
and my
nice.
second went really well too. So I am very fortunate, but I
Yes,
get what you're
perfect.
saying, the
Yes,
sentiment of
like
like you
the,
forget
the labor or the
the
sleepless nights at
challenge.
the beginning, you kind of like forget some of those things
Yeah.
a little bit. So then you're like, oh yes, that all
Okay.
sounds amazing. But it was kind of like that for my cookbook. I was like, in the moment, I'm like, never let me do that again. Took so long.
As you're
And
like, I have this image of like a meme of you just like laying on the floor, like, never let me do
yeah,
this again.
seriously. Basically, that's basically it. And now I'm already like, okay, I have the name idea for my next cookbook. And my husband's like, okay.
So is he holding through on what he promised, or is he
Yeah.
gonna kind of go back on that?
He actually realizes that it doesn't matter what he says, I'm gonna do it anyway. So he just is like,
My kind of woman right there.
yeah.
That's so funny. I kind of have teased you because I've been running so fast and so hard for so long in my business
Yeah.
that I'm like kind of in this sweet spot right now, finally, where I can just kind of stay steady for the first time in a very long time. And I was like, okay, I have it like in my head. This is how long I'm going to give it.
Yeah.
But then I've also said, but I'm probably going to get really bored just being steady and consistent, that it's not going to last that long. I'm just lying to myself and I'm going to
Yeah.
let myself fly right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because part of the fun is that, like, I don't know, is it dopamine, like that invigorating of like creating, and you're just like grinding it out and it's really hard and kind of awful, but kind of wonderful. And then you finish and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe
There's
I did.
something seriously wrong with us entrepreneurs. I don't know what it is, but
It might be like a dopamine issue.
yeah,
Maybe
we
I
have
don't know.
serious issues. We know that. We know we are like insane.
It is. It's so fun.
Yeah,
You have it?
I'm already thinking of my next title. So
Yay.
most likely I'm thinking probably sometime next year. Hopefully I'm gonna take more time to do this
Yeah.
one. Last one had a quicker turnaround. So I'm like, I think if I do it over a longer period of time, hypothetically, it wouldn't be as stressful.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, truly. You are right. And you also learn so much the first time
Yes.
that some of those things that maybe took longer or were more challenging,
Yeah.
write them down in case you didn't, please write them down. so
Yes.
that when you
That's
publish
such
them,
a good point. Yes.
so that you remember like what didn't work and
Hmm.
what did, so that next time, and also like you've already done the first one, so there isn't the pressure of a deadline from anybody else.
Yes.
Right? Like it's on your terms this time because you've already done it. And truly, it is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. I loved flipping through the pages. And I also love that your recipes, they are very doable. They're interesting and creative. And I'm sure you've had some flops in the kitchen where maybe you burned something or it didn't quite go right.
Oh yeah.
Right? That just happened. Right? But what you create, I'm like, that looks just so inviting and comforting.
Thank you. That means a lot. I feel like something that I've really tried to do in my business is always envision like who this is for and make sure that like everything I am creating is very on brand. And I think that's so
Mhm.
important when you're creating a brand is like I was on a retreat last week for food bloggers, and I was just talking to my friend about this is like, I want to make sure that, like, I feel like the person that I am talking to, it's a lot of moms that are busy. A lot of them are in similar stages of life to me, or they are working, and so they don't have a ton of extra time. And so I feel like I really try and hone in because sourdough can be a very long process. So I feel
Mhm.
like I try and keep it simple recipes, a lot of quick and easy. I mean, my cookbook is called Same Day Sourdough because for me, it was like I need recipes that I can make the same day because I'm usually not thinking about that I need bread for dinner 2 days from now. I'm thinking about it the morning of.
It's
And so
survival. When you're a
yes.
mom, it's survival every
Yeah,
day.
seriously. So finding recipes and like making recipes that, fit into people's lifestyles was so important to me. So like when I think about recipes that I'm going to create, I'm not thinking about doing like super complex and overwhelming recipes. Another blogger, that might be their specialty and people want that, but I feel like understanding who my audience is and speaking to them and what they need has made me successful because I am tuned into what they need and maybe not just doing something because it's like, oh, that sounds fun or it's trending right now or whatever, but really honing in on like, what does my customer need?
That's a great point because I think so many people, since I'm an author, I have a lot of people that I know that are authors, and they'll say, "Oh, this is for everyone." And I'm like, "But it's not. Like,
Yeah.
it's truly not." And so I agree, like with social media, when people are trying to do the trending stuff and everything, that's not for everyone.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so or for your specific audience, I mean. So when you're thinking about your audience, maybe what are some questions you asked yourself to help you understand your audience better so that people listening can be thinking about who are they actually talking to?
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes like I feel like in marketing, we always did this where you're like trying to create your person that you're talking to. So you're like, Martha is 33 and has two kids, and this is the house she lives in, and like, but it can be very helpful when you're thinking about like, who is my audience, So a lot of mine are moms and they have younger kids at home. So when I'm like creating a recipe, I'm like, well, first of all, is this a recipe like as a mom that I would probably make on a general basis? If not, maybe that's not for my audience. I also, a lot of times, I go directly to my audience and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about this recipe. Should I use blueberries or raspberries? I'm integrating them into my process so that when things come out, like even with my cookbook, like instead of just saying the day before my cookbook was launching, like, surprise, I have a cookbook coming, the entire time I was like polling my audience, like, hey, look at these two covers, like, which do you like better? And having that personal relationship with them and helping them to feel like they are part of the process, I feel like they become more invested in you and what you're making so that when it comes to purchase, they're like, well, I like helped you create this, like they feel invested in the process. And so I feel like oftentimes, like, I am actually going to my audience to figure out what they need and what is beneficial to them. Um, I'm working with a email marketing team right now, and they're helping to revamp my email. And they just put out a survey, and we sent it out to all of our email subscribers asking, why did you start following me? Like, what is helpful? Like, getting lots of data and collecting data to understand better, like, who my audience is. And I think that can be so beneficial for anybody creating a business is just go to them. They want to talk to you. They are happy to answer your questions. Like, just
Yeah.
go out and ask them. And if you don't have a following yet, maybe you just start by reaching out to friends in this space that might be interested in that type of product you're putting out, or polling the community, going on like Facebook groups and kind of asking some questions there. People are willing to tell you what their problems are, and if you can solve those problems, they are happy to purchase.
Well, and people love sharing their opinions too,
Yes. Yeah.
especially when it's
And you
behind a
have to take it with
computer.
a grain of salt sometimes, you can't make everybody happy. And that's another lesson I've had to learn. You can't make everybody happy. And some people, it's not very often, but occasionally I'll have someone leave like a bad review on a recipe. And at the very beginning, it was like, I took it so personally, it's like, it was really hard not to internalize that, but
Well, it's
something
your
I've
blood,
learned
sweat,
over.
and tears. Like people don't realize how hard you worked to create that. It wasn't just,
Yes.
oh, a little this, a little that, and we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So it is personal.
It is, yes, but it has taken me a while to come to the realization, like, I am not for everybody. Not everybody is going to like my personality. Not everybody's going to like every single recipe I put out. I get, especially when you have a bigger following, you start getting some trolls. You get some people that have a lot of opinions. Thankfully, I don't get a lot of mean comments, but it happens occasionally. But something I've had to realize is like, that is not a reflection on me. And that doesn't mean that I need to change who I am.
Right.
The people that like me, they will find me. And the people that don't, it's
Yeah.
it's not my problem, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and like you're right. If it's something where truly everybody is saying the exact same thing about you and you're just seeing the exact same thing, okay, maybe I need to do some self-reflection. But
Yes.
that never
Yeah.
happens. It's
Right.
not everybody.
Yes.
It's those trolls, the bots, the mean people, whatever
Yeah.
that do that. So do you have somebody who reads your comments for you, or how do you protect your mental and emotional health? Because social media definitely can take its toll on people.
Yeah, it was funny because I don't read a ton of my comments on Facebook just because Facebook, especially when a thing goes viral, I don't know what it is about the Facebook demographic, but they're just kind of meaner in general. Instagram is my happy place. I barely
Yeah.
ever get anything negative over there. But Facebook, for some reason, it can go either way. And so it's funny, like a week or two ago, uh, one of my posts had over like 1 million views, and so my friend had texted me and she was like, "Are you okay? I just saw like your Facebook post and you're getting all these negative." I was like, "Oh, I hadn't even seen it. I didn't even know."
So she's just like
So
trying to be a kind friend, but just
yeah,
with salt on the wound.
I was like, "Oh, I actually didn't even know about it, but thank you for checking in. But actually,
Like now I
I'm
do.
totally fine." I engaging with my audience is important, and so I do like to look through my comments, respond to DMs whenever possible. But on Facebook, I do have my virtual assistant that handles a lot of social media. She helps to respond to a lot of comments on Facebook and in my messages as well, um, whenever she can. And so she does shield a lot from me as far as
Right.
like if things do go negatively. But I feel like I have gotten a lot better over the years of I just have to, I've grown a thicker skin, I do believe.
Yeah.
And, when people say negative things, I just have to remind myself, like, I know who I am. I'm good who I am. And if people don't like me, that's okay. There are a lot of people, and the negative ones are always going to be louder than
They
all of
are.
the positive. It's just going to stand out more in your mind. So I have to remind myself, like, the majority of the people are loving what I'm
Yeah.
creating. They are happy. And so I just try and focus on that instead of focusing on the couple of people that are going to say
Yeah.
rude, negative things. And
Well, and that's
I
not
always
even
try
the
and remind myself,
audience.
yeah,
Those rude people are not your audience. They're not your people.
yeah. And I have to remind myself, like a lot of people that are bullying on the internet, they they have a lot of things that they're working through. And I have to remind myself that, you know, a lot of that doesn't, it's not so much that it's a you problem. It's more of they have some things that they're struggling with.
Yeah. So I used to be an athlete, and so like being competitive and kind of playing games, right,
Yeah.
helps me. And so one of the things I think of is then you go do it better.
Yeah.
Like I don't tell them that, but in my head, it's like if this is going to be the critique of somebody who's really trying and I
Mhm.
can feel good about the effort, then okay, you go do it better.
Yeah.
They won't. They just want to complain. And so I think it's really good that you have measures in place to protect your mental health that are also doable for other people.
Yeah.
But also, you're right. Like, you just have to kind of have that understanding of where it's coming from, have that thicker skin, and know that so many people absolutely love what you're creating and what
Mhm.
you're doing, and they're bought into you and bought into what you're doing.
Yeah.
That it's just like this little teeny tiny percent of people.
Mhm. It's
But don't
such a
actually
tiny
know you.
percentage, but man, those people can be loud sometimes. I think that's true for literally everyone, even if you're
Yeah.
not a content creator. I mean, just friends in general. Sometimes it's, you know,
Yes. And I think,
the negative sometimes is louder, but you have to
yeah,
remind
and
yourself of all the positive.
yeah, I know there has to be some neuroscience. I feel like it's like a survival protection thing, but it
Yeah.
hasn't evolved with us, right? Like we are not in a pit with a lion. We're
Yeah.
safe, we're okay,
Yes.
right? But our
Yeah.
brain still thinks like, "Ah, it's a lion."
Yeah.
That
Yes.
mean comment, right? So I do think there's got to be some kind of neuroscience as to why we do that to ourselves. But
Yeah.
also going back to what you were saying, go to the gym, have those people in your life who speak life into you and that
Mhm.
you can go to about anything. Have something just for you, whether it's reading or whatever it may be, and stick with it.
Mhm.
That's what
Yes.
you've done is you've
And I
stuck
think
with it.
and I think, like, with that too, w I notice the times that I am, like, getting down or letting those negative thoughts win or whatever, I'm not being productive in those times. Usually, I'm doom scrolling, then I start comparing myself to others, like, "Why isn't my content doing as well as this person's?" And, like, you can go on this, like, steep downhill
Yeah.
very quickly, and I realize in those moments, it's like, what I'm doing is number 1, it's not productive. Number 2, I need to turn my phone off and I need to get outside. I need some fresh air. I need to go do something for myself because it has nothing to do with like these other people. It's really like I need to take a break. I need to fill my cup again. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times it's just like I just needed to refill my cup and it's showing in other ways. Like it's starting to show in jealousy of like what other people like, why am I not as successful as this person? And
Yeah.
so taking time to replenish is just like so important. And when you see those negative things starting to come in, it's like you need to kind of do a self-assessment of like, what am I lacking right now? And
Yeah.
take care of your needs and then come back and be like, "Oh, actually, like, I am doing well. Everything is fine. I'm not," you know?
No, you're right. You sound very self-aware, which if all of us were more self-aware, I think the world would be a better place.
Thank you. It's
That's
something
the
that
world.
I've tried working on definitely over these
Yeah.
last few years.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to celebrating whenever you finish your next cookbook and all of the success that you will continue to have.
Thank you
I
so
think it's
much.
really inspiring to see what you're doing and just know that there are probably many, many people, hundreds of thousands of people who are very inspired by what you're doing. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here. How can people get in touch with you? I will include everything in the show notes as well.
Okay, yeah, my website is countryroadssourdough.com if you're ever looking for delicious, quick, and easy sourdough recipes. Instagram is the platform that I personally am on the most. So you can reach out to me at Country Roads Sourdough is my Instagram handle, but I'm on all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. So any of those.
Pinterest.
Pinterest, yes,
Yeah.
Pinterest. And if you're interested in my cookbook, you can find it at shop.countryroadsourdough.com.
Thank you so much, Emily, for being here. And I would love to try any of your food. I'm a foodie.
Okay,
So
yes.
taste
Come on
test
over.
text me anytime.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Diary of a Dreamer. I hope you found the stories and tips shared today to be a source of motivation and strength. Remember, every challenge you face is a chance to grow and move closer to your dreams. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with anyone who could use a boost of encouragement. Please check out my website, tashaeisinger.com.